8:49, everybody. So plans for a public memorial now underway for Congressman Charles Rangel, who died Monday. He left his mark not only in Harlem, but all over the world through his work. In this interview from 5 years ago, he explains his driving force.
We all play such a small role in the birth of a humankind and birth of a nation. And I don't call it religion, but it's spiritual, that we really have to concentrate on what contribution that we can make during a very, very short period that we're here.
So that was part of an interview that Rangel did with the New York Amsterdam News. Pix 11 is partnering up with the organization for a monthly series. And this morning we are joined by the journalist that you saw in that video speaking with the late congressman. He is senior writer Herb Boyd. So good morning to you, Herb. Great to have you here.
Well, seeing that clip, my goodness.
Oh,
I had no idea.
Brings you back, right?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Oh, wow.
He was always so open and very honest with me. And he had a lot of respect for journalists, particularly for the Amsterdam News, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you covered him for many years, but then you became friends, like real friends.
Yes.
Talk about that.
It didn't start very well.
No.
He called me into his office in the state office building there in Harlem and very warmly and cordially chastised me. Said that I had my interpretation of a particular bit in need context. So it was kind of a warning, you know. That was my initial. This is in the early mid-'80s when I met him for the first time, and from that moment on, you know, he was always aware. He followed me as a journalist. I was amazed that sometimes he'd call me up and say, here's what's going to happen today at the press conference. Here's what's going to happen in the world today. And he was such an internationalist. He had that kind of perspective.
Yeah.
You know, and you had to actually write the obituary.
Yes.
That was featured this week. That's the cover of the New Amsterdam News right there, right?
Oh, yeah,
And so for you to kind of put pen to paper on his whole life.
Yes.
What was that like for you in that moment to write that?
Well, I think you have to understand, I think one of the things he said in the clip there had to do with service, dedication, and dignity and respect. And he conveyed that all the time. One of the things about covering him over the years, I mean, he was all over the place. The domestic affairs, international policy. You look at, in a certain extent, following in the path of Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X legislatively, and the acts that he put together. You look at the Caribbean Basin Initiative, you look at the African Growth and Opportunities Act, even with back to Harlem, the UBAZ, the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone, and the whole Cuba normalization thing during the Obama administration. So you can see the kind of international flavor that he had was in keeping. And in the same way that Marcus Garvey was reaching out, Malcolm X was reaching out. I don't know if he necessarily had all that in mind, because it was kind of a part of his routine each day when he's looking at what's going on with the congressional record.
Yeah, I mean, his impact was so widespread. But you also wrote an op-ed, right, about him and also the Gang of Four, right?
Yes. One of the things about all of this, understanding and bringing him, he would have a press conference, for example, and all these journalists would be there, and he would find a way to single me out. And all the other journalists would look and say, who is this guy? You know, why is he getting this kind of attention? Same way that R.C. Davis did that same thing. He would recognize that there. I think it was really a respect for the black press. He had that in mind. I think in Eleanor, in one of your segments earlier, kind of put that in perspective.
Yes.
You know, what he was all about. You know, the lion of Lenox Avenue.
Yeah. You know, he was also once dubbed the favorite bachelor by the Amsterdam News before he married Alma. Did he enjoy that title?
I think one of the things, I tried to ask him about that at one time, and he almost was kind of dismissing that thing. You know, that's what people call me. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes.
What his mentor was J. Raymond Jones,
Okay.
and he was called the Harlem Fox. So you got the wolf, the fox, and the lion. All these things going on. These kind of designation makes it an easy handle.
Yeah.
And but he respected it. He understood because, as Eleanor suggested, if he's the lion of Lenox Avenue, then the whole Harlem is his pride.
Yeah.
And he held that up in deep
Yeah.
love and respect.
Yeah.
What would you say is his legacy then?
One of the things that I remember, what he left with me, is that don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to speak truth to power.
Yeah.
And keep a kind of an unimpeachable integrity that he possessed. And I've done my best over the years to own up and honor and understand exactly what he meant by all of that. He talked about the march he made in 1965, 54 miles he walked from Selma to Montgomery.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he was cursing every step of the way because the people on the sideline was calling him all kind of epithets and nasty names,
Yep.
to say nothing of the people who were assigned to guard him, his reactionaries from the South.
Yeah.
But he understood the context of all these things. He was a very sophisticated, a kind of a consummate politician.
Yeah.
Politics was always fresh on his mind and what had to be done, whether domestic or internationally.
Yeah.
That's what I remember
Yeah.
about him.
It's amazing. Herb Boyd, pleasure to talk to you. By the way, it's amazing too because you have that relationship in the beginning where he chastised you and then it blossomed into something so much greater.
Yeah.
Whereas today, I don't know if that would happen. Like a politician doesn't like an article, they kind of say
Yep.
you're not coming back.
Cut you off, yep.
Well,
good
in a
stuff.
sense, I guess being here with you, I'm still covering him.
Yes,
Yes, that's right.
You
Exactly.
can't get away from me.
Herb, thank you so much for coming
it's a
on.
pleasure.
And you can check out this week's Amsterdam News dedicated to Congressman Charlie Rangel.